Welcome to our life. Well, we've all moved into 2021 while we are still wearing the mini mask of 2020. So let me give you a removing the mask fact. If you've endured anything in 2020 and you have not made any changes, you are overdue. So when we return, I will have my phenomenal life coaches as well as a financial strategist that will give us tips on how to navigate life in 2021 while we're still removing the mask from 2020. So we'll be right back.
$100 on chicken nuggets?
$100 on chicken nuggets. Really?
How'd you get in my house?
I'm with Wisdom Tax.
Wisdom Tax, so you can help me with all of this.
Most definitely. Looks like you need help in bookkeeping.
So what about maximizing my refund?
We can only maximize your refund if you get organized. Here at Wisdom Tax and Financial, we teach you how to be free. Free.
Free? Awesome. So I can be free of these receipts.
Most definitely. Please give us a call.
Thank you. Can you free yourself out of my house, please?
Only if you promise to give us a call.
I'll give you a call. So I can be free.
Wisdom Tax. Learn to be free.
So we're back, guys, to kick off 2021's Navigating Life. And I have the one other than the Dr. Dawn.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year is here with us. So give us a little tip about your background so people will know.
Oh gosh, hello everybody. I am. This is my second time. I feel
second time.
Yeah. We're all friends. It's all love here. But I am Dawn Paul, aka the Dr. Dawn, certified life coach. The Dr. Dawn is my nickname, but my prescription is my words. So I just look. I'm spreading life and love. I give it to you with my no judgment, just realness. I'm gonna keep it candid. I'm going to keep it in Christ, but I'm going to keep it candid.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's time to heal. We got to heal. And I love candid conversation, so I love this show.
So thank you. We're going to kick this off with relationships.
Okay.
Now she's going to be with us throughout the whole show. So we'll see her again. This is not the only segment, but we're going to kick it off with relationships. So how do we try to heal all the broken relationships from 2020? Because 2020 you had relationships that were broken in family, with just anything with family, then you threw politics into the family mix and that broke up a whole lot of relationships. How do we heal from that?
Well, I think there has to be a willingness to heal. First of all, you have to want to, you have to acknowledge behavior, right? You have to stop playing the blame game. But I told people, because everybody was blaming COVID, relationship problems. No, you had problems before COVID, boo. It's just COVID brought it to the surface. Don't blame Rona. Your relationship was already in a mess.
Yeah.
So it's first of all, you have to have a willingness. You have to acknowledge it, and you have to put pride aside, and that's what people don't want to do. And then you have to put in the work, therapy, counseling, coaching, whatever you need to do. But I think it starts with acknowledgement. Yeah, it starts with that there is a problem.
How do we start to learn to have real healthy relationships on every level? Because if it wasn't for the pandemic, I think we would still be going the same way we have been for so long.
Yeah. I think, ask the question again.
I mean, how do we start to learn how to have healthy and real relationships? Because I don't think we know how.
Well, this is what I was thinking the other day, or a few months ago. It's like, the show The Walking Dead. We walk around, we look polished, but inside we're The Walking Dead. We're zombies, we're dead, right? On the outside we look good, we look like we got it together, but on the inside you have people who are dead. They're posting pictures, things are looking good. But it starts with you. You have to look in the mirror and you have to say something is not right. You have to say, what is the show? Taking off the mask, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have not
removing the
taken
mask.
off the mask. It's shame. They're putting up a facade. They have an image, all this. But you have to say, COVID really has shown me, who cares what people think? I mean, I really didn't care what people thought before. But really with social distancing, there are people, I've had people walk away from my life, jealousy. But with social distancing, I said, you know what, God? With social distancing, I don't see them anyway. Because you know what I mean. So some people, you have to have boundaries, and that's another thing I have. But it starts with you. My relationship with God is so important. If you're centered on God, on Christ, everything will fall into place. Everything. You'll see things so clearly. I'm telling you, it's like just such clarity. And when you're just focused on what your purpose is, you're just align yourself with the right people.
But we, as individuals, we really have to have that transparency.
Right.
About ourselves and really know who we are. We have to know our faults. And I think a lot of people don't.
I think...
Or don't want to accept it.
Some of them don't want to accept it, Monique, but I find that some people... Everybody has different backgrounds, and everybody was raised different. And you would be surprised. If behavior is not corrected when you're an adolescent, when you're young, you grow up with certain behaviors, still doing things because you have not been corrected. And when I see people who have these toxic behaviors and their friends don't correct them, like if I was to have an attitude with you, you'd be like, Dr. Don, what's wrong with you today?
Yeah, I probably would say
right? But you have people who don't say anything.
Yeah.
We don't like to have uncomfortable conversations and be like, Monique, you kind of, so we have to hold each other. If you love if people love you, they're going to tell you in love, girl, you need to get that fixed. You need to get that straight.
You're not right today.
Yeah, because you'd be surprised at some people who just weren't, I don't want to say home training, but mama didn't teach. Mama was probably dealing with curses, so.
So
yeah.
that goes to my next question. And my final question for this segment right here is, what would you say is the number one thing we don't do in most relationships?
Honesty. Honesty with ourselves. We know this person is not right for us. We know if you believe in this and they believe in that, okay, you put a Muslim with a Christian, right? Two totally different religions. You know good and well you're going to have some, right? He's fine, but if he's not in, or whatever your deal breakers are, right? Things are not, you have to be honest that this is just not going to work out, but you go into something anyway. Because maybe out of desperation. But sometimes you need to walk away and say, this just is not going to work. Or maybe you see they don't manage money well, but you think the problem's going to be fixed once we walk down the aisle. You have to see it for what it is, and you have to address it. And if you don't address it, then it's going to be a problem. But I think we many times we go into relationships thinking things are going to get better. We're in desperation. We don't want to see red flags. We think, oh my God, I got to be married because I'm 40, I'm 30, or whatever. Yeah. We have to be honest. This is just not going to work out. But we're not. We don't do it. We don't do it, and then we don't want to put in the work. We don't want to put in the work. But girl, that's a whole nother conversation. But first, it starts with honesty. You have to be honest. This person is. When you have a phone conversation with somebody that we don't even need to go on a first date, but you do it anyway. Maybe it'll get better. Come on. You know what I mean? Sometimes the flags are there and you ignore them and then all hell breaks loose.
I definitely agree on that honesty. So we're going to take a quick break and Dr. Dawn is going to recharge because she'll be back with us along with Stephanie. But we'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll give you our financial strategist that will be here to tell us how we need to recoup these finances that went downhill in 2020 and how we need to bring them back to bring them back up. So we'll be right back.
Hi,
Hi, this is Willie Adolph of the Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. I'm here today to talk to you about home purchasing. You know, a lot of times people want to know, where do we start, when do we start, how much do we need to save, what our credit score need to be like, can I really move in now? And the answer is yes. The thing is that you want to get pre-approved first before you even go house shopping, because what you wouldn't want to happen is that you find the perfect home, but the bank won't qualify you for your mortgage. So always get pre-approved first. So find a good lender, which we have a lot of resources for you on that. Second, you want to make sure that anything that's on your credit, if it's something that you can work with, let's work with it, because everything on your credit, you know, it depends on what it is for each mortgage company. And third, once you get that pre-approval, now it's time to go house shopping. Now, Willie, what about the money, the down payment and things like that? Well, they have a lot of programs that's out there. So based on your credit will depend on the down payment assistance that you can receive. But we do have a lot of resources and a lot of things that can help you. And everyone with the Adolph Group will hold you by your hand and walk you through the whole process. So you can contact us at www.theadolphgroup.com or 281-451-7087. And remember, when you have will, you have a way.
So we're back now, and I have financial strategist here with us, Miss Nikki Ferguson. So welcome. This is your first time to our live.
Yes, it's
so
my
I'm
first one.
excited that you're here. So give us a little bit about your background, because you have extensive background. So it's not just finances that you
Yes.
handle. So give us a little bit of that.
Okay, yes. I'm Nikki Ferguson, Mocha Brown Productions. I do video, photography, DJ. And finance has always been in my blood, so I am credit repair consultant, and that's why I'm here today, to give y'all some tips about credit repair.
All righty. So let's jump into this. You said it was always in your blood, but what really got you interested in doing credit repair?
Well, I always thought I had good credit. I was an investor one time, and always had good credit, and then life happened. And so, you know, you can't control that when life's happen, and foreclosure, bankruptcy. So I went through all of that, and I had to start all over again. So I got married. Me and my husband was looking to rebuild and get a home. And I'm like, I don't need credit repair. Mine is like 630, something like that. I'm like, okay, that's good. And he was like $495. So I was like, you need to just work on his. She was like, no, I advise you, both of y'all work on your credit together, have a better score, because the credit score that you see on Credit Karma, of course, is not the same as your FICO score.
No,
so,
it's not.
You know, when I thought I had a 620, I mean 630, I was really a 620. So I really needed to be at 640 and above. So we applied, went through the credit repair, and I was so amazed because in the second month, his score went up 180 points. So he was like 675, and mine went up like 75 points. So, and I was like, okay, this is good. How do I want to get into this and help people, because they helped us. Needless to say, the credit went up so high in a short period of time. In 2 months, my husband went out and bought a BMW because the home process was taking way too long. So he went and got a BMW because he, you know, when you don't have good credit and you're not used to living like that, it's just someone that not used to money is like, I need to do it, I need to use it, and so he went and used it.
And we're gonna get to that. What are some tips to improving your credit before we get to that point?
To improve it, always pay your bills on time. Always. You got to get into a practice of paying your bills on time. Like me, I pay twice a month just because how I'm self-employed, how my money is, and when I get paid, I just pay it. So don't wait to the due date. Please don't wait to the due date. Pay a few days before, and the best thing is do automatic draft. So definitely pay your bills on time.
So what hurts your credit the worst? Because like you said, he went out and buying stuff, and always going out buying stuff, getting more credit, obtaining more credit, that doesn't necessarily help you. That can hurt you.
Yeah, you shouldn't have more than 3 or 4 inquiries within a year's time. So don't go out there shopping, and every time you go to the department store and they say you want 15%, I'll apply for this, don't just apply for it just because. But the one thing that hurts your credit score the worst is late payments. So if you're late on a payment, it can drop your score from 50 to 100 points. I am a witness to that.
Yeah.
Mine dropped 100. Thank God I was at 7 something. But if you're already struggling, you at 400 or 500, that's going to really hurt you. So don't have any late payments because that hurts you the worst, because it's 35% of your credit is how it's calculated.
Okay. What would be the best way to move forward now in 2021 with credit? Because 2020, for a lot of people, it's like now everybody, no matter if you had a job, no matter if you was a vice president of whatever company, we're all on the same playing field now.
Right.
With credit and everything. So what is the best way to move forward in 2021? Because I think a lot of people that had lost a lot.
As we know, for the small business loans, they was giving out the loans out to help a lot of companies, a lot of business, and a lot of small business didn't even qualify for it because of bad credit. And they just thought living with bad credit is just something to do. It don't bother me.
No, it affects everything.
Oh yeah, it affects everything. Even your paying your utilities, your car insurance. So it's a big factor. So what you need to do 2021 move forward is to have good credit. So you need to repair your credit. You need to build it if you don't have credit, because having no credit is still like having bad credit.
Exactly.
So you need to build your credit. We have trade lines, secure card. We have credit my rent. If you are renting, you can get credit for your rent. And then just have more knowledge. Get some education. So repair, rebuild, and have generational wealth. So that's just my advice, to just be knowledgeable.
So the last question for you, I want to ask, how a lot of people have multiple streams of income.
Right.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm
definitely
not
good.
a fan of it. I'll do it if it's in the same field I'm in, but I've never been a fan.
Yeah, you gotta open your mind.
I've never been I've never been a fan of it at all. Period. Of multiple streams of income and the network marketing and all that. So
those are the ones that are millionaires. You gotta open your mind up. So
I
this is
didn't
like
say
this
my
chair.
mind wasn't open. I'm not open to that.
that.
Period.
Okay, let's take this chair you in. Multiple streams. Okay, so you have this, and that. If this breaks, you're gonna fall,
Yeah.
right? So, well, if it was just really the one, you're gonna fall. So if that chair break, you're gonna lean a little bit. This one you're gonna lean. If you lose all 3 of them, you fall flat. So why not have multiple? Because that's you have something else to lean on versus just having one leg. You're gonna fall flat, and that's what a lot of people. They only had one job. That job went down. They had nothing. They had nothing. So that's why it's good to have a home-based business, have different streams. Like I started out with video. And then video was kind of skiffy, and then I started with photography because the church wanted photography. And then I'm DJing. So I have different streams because if someone don't want video, they can still hire me for different things. So I offered everything. And then as you see, most of the successful people, they have multiple streams. You know, they might be an actor, but then they're a singer, and then they might be a dancer, and then they might have a clothing line, a shoe line. They have alcohol, they have liquor. You're gonna have someone that always have. So never just stay with just one stream.
So I have multiple streams for 2021, but they just still in the same field that I'm in, which is media and entertainment.
So it's always good.
But I have expanded the brand to multiple streams. I want to say thank you for being here with us today. How can we contact you for finance? Somebody want to contact you? Give us your information.
Okay, yes, I am Nikki Ferguson, and my website is the Family Financial Team, and my number is 281-788-9462, and once again, that's thefamilyfinancialteam.com.
Well, thank you very much for being here with us today, finally.
Yes,
on the
thank
show.
you for having me.
I have to bring you back. So
I appreciate
when
it.
we return, we will be bringing in Miss Stephanie from the Healing Firm, back with Dr. Dawn, and we're going to go deeper into how we will be able to navigate life in 2021. So we'll be right back.
Do you have less than perfect credit? Are you getting denied for loans and credit cards? Well, contact us today for your free consultation and learn the secrets of financial freedom. We can help with late payments, collections, judgments, bankruptcies, will, trust, and more. We get results. Let us help you. For more information, contact Nikki Ferguson at 281-788-9462.
And we're back, guys. I still have the Dr. Dawn is still here with me, and now we have Miss Stephanie McKenzie from the Healing Firm. So now we're gonna really get into the stuff that we went through in 2020. But I want to start off with health with Stephanie. So first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for staying.
Always, darling. Always. I never go anywhere.
So, Stephanie, how important at this point now is it for us to pay more attention to our health? And I say that because with the pandemic, that's when we learned if you supposedly had underlying health conditions and all this stuff, that you weren't going to make it, you was going to be on a ventilator. That's what the doctor said.
True.
But so how important is it now for us to pay attention more to our health?
I mean, it was always fairly important, Monique, because one of the things that hasn't been discussed during the pandemic is how we should actually care for ourselves, how to keep our immunity up, how to keep it stable. They're not talking about anti-inflammatory diets. They're not talking about increasing your vitamin D. They're not talking about just overall the foods that you eat, and that fear actually brings your immunity down, fear and sugar.
Stress. Too.
Yeah, but we got a lot of people running around here stress eating and, making pies and cobblers and to deal. And I'm like, oh, sugar tanks your immunity for an hour. We do not have time for tanked immunity in the middle of a pandemic. We don't have time for tanked immunity in general. But we're not talking about the things that make us healthy. People are afraid they're going to end up in the hospital on a ventilator. I'm going to be honest with you. From what we know of COVID, it has a 99% survival rate. I know people that have contracted the disease twice and survived. So it is survivable, but when we're afraid of, oh my God, we're going to catch this and we're going to die, then that is not helping us live a healthy life either.
What are a few ways that we can stay on top of our health?
Stop eating cakes and pies and cookies in the name of COVID. Sorry. But like, we gonna get through, here's a pie. No, just being mindful of what you're consuming, honestly. And then also I mean that from the standpoint, not just of food, but information. Because there's a lot of information out there. And when you get into the rabbit hole of, okay, you're on YouTube and you're looking at the information and this is about the pandemic and this is about the Black Plague. I think one day I was Googling the Black Plague. I was like, how long did that take? Oh, well, that was bad information. Anyway, but being mindful of the information, just consumption in general, what we take in through every gate, ears, eyes, mouth, other gates, just being mindful of that.
Okay. I want to jump into mental health. My mental health is a big thing for me because I have my own mental health journey as well as I come from a family, a mother with mental health issues. So I'm always excited to talk about mental health.
Yes.
Would you guys say 2020 was a year to change our mindset on different things? Because I think when everything kind of shut down in the United States around March of 2020, I think that was a time for everybody to change your mindset on how you dealt with many things in the world. So any one of you guys can chime in on that.
It's just you had to adapt. And I think change is not easy for everyone. So people finally, there were a lot of people who just had to learn how to adapt. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And then what you have to do is you have to learn how to adapt, and you can make it through. It was very rough. We all had to go through some changes, but you can't ignore it. Many people were in denial. Okay, businesses, so what are you going to do? You're just going to let your business fail? No. You're going to have to adapt, and you're going to have to learn some new things too, right? So the way you've been doing things, you can't do it. So it was an eye-opener, I think, for a lot of people. But it's about, you're going to have to adapt.
So
You're gonna have to adapt.
That goes to my next question. Let's talk about life changes and how it plays a big part with your mental health, because I don't want to say people don't understand that, but when you have a life change, it does play a big part with your mental health.
Yeah.
So let's.
Well, you need therapy, counseling. I always tell people, when you're dealing with life coaches, we help you with goals and things like that. But when we're talking about deep-rooted issues, you need therapy and you need counseling. A lot of things, people had to face a lot of those deep-rooted issues during COVID that they never had to face before. They were grieving, and I know for some people, COVID brought it to the surface, and they were about to break. They looked real good, but it was time for therapy. I had people who had to reach out to me, and they were just, people are breaking, and they look good, but it's therapy, it's counseling, it's having conversations like this, using our platforms, being responsible. And then also, we need to reach out to each other. The text message is not going to do it. I have to call you and say, girl, are you okay? Liking your photo when you shared your mom died, or pressing the care emoji isn't enough.
Yeah.
I had to pick up the phone. How is my sister doing? So we're going to have to be more conscious and aware that we're going to have to be there for each other. We are our sisters, our brother's keeper, and I think we need to remember that.
Definitely. You know, I think that as humans, we know we don't like changes. We just flat out don't. You know, we don't like the construct of change.
Yes, we
And
don't.
I think what we saw in the beginning of the pandemic is grieving. Grieving the sense of normalcy that we have become so beholden to, the ability to be as busy as we wanted to be. You know, pre-COVID, I was teaching probably, fitness or stretching or flexibility classes at least 5 days a week, TRX, plus seeing clients, coaching, life coaching, the whole gambit. And I was hyper busy. And so, not that I didn't enjoy it, but I did welcome the switch of, so you say you can't teach today. Okay, great. Now, as far as business, it was great for business, honestly, because when people started to realize, you know what, this is some time that I can take to transform some things in my life, that was a good thing for us as an organization. However, in my lives and the information that I shared, it was really about giving people that opportunity to grieve and letting them understand that this loss of normalcy is a loss. It's no different than any other loss, and that you don't have to sit up and have toxic positivity and say, oh my God, this is great. I can't believe that I can't go outside. No, you can absolutely
Well,
be
I
like,
did.
this sucks.
I did. I
You were happy?
You said that.
Yes.
I'm not mad at you.
What? I'm going to cry when they make me go back into an office building.
Oh, well, the introvert in me was like, this is cool. But, there are people who are extroverted and they needed that connection.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they were like, oh my God, I can't see people. And so, I get it. I absolutely get it. But whatever you felt like you were losing in those moments, I wanted people to take the opportunity to grieve it.
Yeah. And I think we have to be sensitive to each other, because people are like, well, I'm an introvert and I'm an extrovert and I need to see people. Okay, well, you may be an introvert, good for you, but you have to understand how the extrovert feels.
That's right.
You have to understand your struggles are not someone else's struggles. So let's be understanding. Same thing with the mask. Dr. Dawn, you wearing your mask? Yes, I am. Don't judge me for wearing it, and I'm not going to judge you for not wearing it. You see what I'm saying? So we need to be sensitive to each other.
Exactly.
But what is you dealt with grief. Your mother passed.
Well, my
so what
mother
was your process?
The end of 2020.
Yeah, the end of 2020.
My grief started for me the beginning of 2020 because my great nephew took his life, and he was 15 years old. So that kicked off my new year. And then I just went on, and then we shut down in March, and I had to work from home, which I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I didn't have to go sit in the office and
And
all
see
that good
folks.
stuff. And yeah, I didn't have to do none of that. And then October, I received a call that she wasn't doing well, and she lived in Louisiana. And I called my other sister, and I said, okay, we can leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I made preparations, and for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, I literally watched her die. I watched her, pass away. She wasn't in the hospital, so we didn't have to worry about. She was at home, so we didn't have to worry about not being able to see her like most people, and watched her go through that process. So for me, like I've said before, I didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
I was very tired and exhausted because when we were there, we didn't sleep. We basically watched her through the process. So I was very tired, and when I would come back to Houston, all I could do was just get in my bed.
And I wanna, because we're interviewing you, right?
Yeah,
So I wanna be real about it.
They're taking over,
So
as y'all can see.
people who are watching, I want you to pay attention to this. People think, oh, she's got a TV show. Monique looks so good. You don't know what people are going through. And so what is your process because the process is ongoing.
Yeah.
Not that you're doing this TV show and, oh my God, everything's great now. No.
No.
What is your process? Because somebody's watching you saying, if she can do it, how do I go through it?
I think most of my friends think because I stayed in, and I didn't stay in because of COVID, because I'm not in fear of that. When I go out, you just have to be mindful when it comes to COVID. I stayed in for 2 months and stopped taping shows and all that because I needed that for self-care.
Yeah.
I had to come to the realization that she was not here. And I look at things a little differently. Most people say when someone passes away that they lived a long life. And it was time or whatever
Cliches,
people say.
yeah.
All those cliches. For me, my mother and father were my family in my mind. I have extended family, I have real family, but my mother and father were my family. And the day she passed away, it was like he died again, and he's been dead 10 years. So I had to come to an understanding over those 2 months that they're not here no more. And this is what it is. And then take the self-care time for myself and to find my voice again, because for many days people will call me. You have called me, Stephanie, Nikki has called me, my team has called me, and or they'll shoot a text, but my conversations were very minimal. Because it's like my whole voice, and I talk a lot.
Yeah.
My whole voice was gone.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was gone. So after December, I was still working behind the scenes, but after December, I noticed that I had that energy in me and life in me. So I say to anybody, you can't let nobody tell you when it's time for you to get past whatever.
That's right.
That's right.
You have to take that time for yourself. And with me taking the 2 months and now back, I'm stronger. You have to take that time for yourself, because if you don't and you bottle it in, you will break down. I promise you. You will break down the road. I promise you. So
We're proud of you.
it was just that
I'm telling you.
self-care. Otherwise, I'd still be at home and we wouldn't be doing this today.
Well, I'm glad
you're
that
here.
you thought enough of yourself to say, you know what, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I don't have to try to suck it up, and I don't have to try to get out and make a show, and I don't have
That's
to do
right.
that. I think being cognizant of your own needs is so necessary. And I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to grief, I'll never forget when my father passed away, my mother had a plan for my moving on. And so at some point she came to me and she said, I think it's time, this is my mommy voice, I think that it's time that we clean out the house. And I'm like, oh no, we're not gonna do that. In fact, I boarded up his house for like 3 years. I left the heat on and the air on, and I was just like, I'll deal with this when I can. But giving yourself that grace in your space becomes so key, because people will have an agenda for you. They will think that, and she meant no harm, of course, she's my mother and she loves me, but they will think, okay, well, this is what will help her. And this is what, and I think it's so important that you're mindful of not only what you need, but that the people around you are mindful.
And I think people also need to know that it's okay to say no.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
I've learned that.
Definitely.
And that's very important, to say no and try to stay around positive energy.
Yes.
And know what battles are yours to fight. And don't put all your energy into fighting something, because to me, that's taking time off my lifespan.
That's right.
So I had obligations that were in place before she passed away and went downhill, per se.
Yes.
So I kept those obligations.
Yes.
Anything after that, if I got a call to come here, do whatever, no. So you need to learn how to say no, for one.
Yeah.
But I thank y'all for interviewing me a little bit. And I'm proud of myself because I did not cry. You did.
That's okay. And if you did, that's all right.
What are some things that can help us when we become overwhelmed and stressed? Because again, I think in this climate we're in now, people are overwhelmed and stressed out.
I mean, Stephanie touched on it, you touched on it. You have to say no, you have to protect your peace. You have to protect your space. She said, Mom, I love you, but no, I'm not going to clean out Dad's house right now. You say no. We have to protect our space, and we have to just tell people no. That's how it is. That's one of my things, like no. And I don't feel guilty about it. I don't care what you think about it. I'm going to say no. I'm in the spaces that are good for me mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and I'm around people who are good for me. You don't have to do everything. God has you. And that's what people have. You don't have to be everywhere and do it. We have still been blessed during COVID.
Yeah.
So all these events you're going to, that these people don't care about you anyway. They're just there for a good selfie or a good picture. I have learned, God, you got me. I don't have to be at all this stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff I'm not going to be going to when I get invited, because you don't need, it's just my peace. I have such a focus, and it's such a peace. But you have to say no.
And that's where I'm at now. That's what I was telling Willie, and I don't know if I told Trinae, my staff, I'm at a place of peace now.
Oh, yes.
With everything and decisions that I've had to make.
Yeah.
I'm really at a place of peace. So I'm excited about that.
But don't you feel good? Like when you say no to people and you don't feel guilty, and if they don't take it, and they're fine. Don't you feel good?
I do. I do. What are tools we can use to manage dark days?
I mean, for me, and it's not the most popular opinion, but it's probably going to be the most prolific one, is that you allow those feelings to teach you. One of the things that I always say is that anytime you feel fear or sadness or depression or anything that we consider to be dark, that we allow it to teach us, but don't let it linger beyond the lesson. Because sometimes I actually personify feelings. Fear will come up, okay, well, why are you here, fear? What do you want? And let fear talk to me like, okay, well, what's going on here? Well, why do you feel sad? Versus what we're taught to do is to move on. You know, oh, we'll just push it away, it's fine. And I'm like, listen, every time you reject a feeling, you reject yourself. Because it is a part of you.
That's right.
And it will come back, it'll come back stronger because pain demands to be felt. Little.
And that's so very true because, like I said before, I think most of my friends, because I didn't go out, thought I was depressed. I'm not depressed. Sad because she's not here.
Absolutely.
I'm sad, but no, I wasn't depressed.
Right.
Fear because I'm launching into a new environment for me.
Yes.
With my what did Nicole say? What did Nicole say? My outside, my extra source of income.
Multiple streams.
Yeah, my multiple streams is what our financial strategist said.
Love it.
That fear has been there for that one particular thing for a while now because I don't know if I second guess myself on my capabilities of being able to teach someone else in this field. So that fear is real because it will come back to me, I don't know why you doing that. Ain't nobody gonna go to that.
But see, that's part of the Jabez prayer, right? Like if people really understand what the Jabez prayer is, when you pray for enlarged territory, if you read the book, their fear comes with it. You pray, and we're talking about cars and clothes. No, enlarged territory is more responsibility. God is about to open doors bigger than you can. It's going to seem like I can't do this. Your resources, your experience is going to seem less than what it is. And God, there needs to be a show about that. Maybe I need to do one. I don't know. But I'm telling you, this is part of it. So what you've been praying on, it's normal. But you can overcome it, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm going for it. I'm going for it with it. So, I'm going for it with it. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be in our last segment, which is it's all about navigating 2021. And we're going to have these ladies give us some tips and good advice that we can use because, yes, we're in a new year, but we're in the strangest climate ever in the world right now, with still being in a pandemic. And now we're going through some very civil unrest, should I say, with everything. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
The Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. We provide residential, commercial, leasing apartment locating. We provide consulting on home buying, home selling, and credit restoration. We help with private investments through All Faith Investment Corporation. Contact us now, the Adolph Group at Equity House Properties. We make real estate your reality.
Wisdom Tax. Maybe I should give him a call. Oh, how did you get in my house again?
Now, you know I told you I'm with Wisdom Tax.
Well, I'm glad you showed up because I think I'm ready to get started.
Great. Look, I just need you to do one simple step. Visit our website online, www.wisdomtax.org. All right, fill out the application, and we'll get back to you, maybe even in the next 10 minutes.
Awesome. I'm about to be free. Look, this is amazing. So what? Wait. Hello?
Call us at Wisdom Tax, where you learn to be free.
So we're back in our last segment, and again, it's all about navigating through 2021 differently than what we did in 2020. So again, I want to thank these wonderful ladies, Miss Stephanie and Dr. Dawn, for being here with me today. So what are a few tips we can use moving forward for a healthier relationships? I know you said when we talked about relationships, I don't know if you heard it, she said honesty. Because we're not honest with each other. About nothing. About nothing.
Absolutely. I feel like in order for us to recognize and have better relationships, we have to love ourselves. One of the epiphanies that I had recently was that, we're often taught that love is about being so selfless. And I'm like, if you really want to have a healthy relationship, we have to realize, and I hate the term we have to as a coach, but it is to our benefit to realize and recognize that loving ourselves, being selfish in what we want, need, desire, and deserve is what's necessary because our closest relationships are always going to reflect the love we don't give ourselves or that we do give ourselves. So when I'm loving myself and raising my love, we call it a love level. When I'm raising my self-love level and I'm focused on what I need and I'm not just so into our friendship or our romantic relationship that I've lost myself, then that's going to be reflected back to me as long as I'm in a relationship with a moderately healthy person. That's going to be reflected back to me, and that's going to allow us to be stronger together.
Okay. You want to add something to
I always ask people, because one of the things that was people were doing more of was online dating. If that's what you do, then fine. But I always tell people, before you get into a relationship, look at the why. Why are you, are you ready for companionship? There's nothing wrong with that. Or if you feel like, it's time because I'm lonely and I've been single for no, look at your why, right? And then you need to address those issues, because you don't want to align yourself with a partner. And again, like Coach Stephanie said, well, what you put out is what you attract, right? So if you're in an unhealthy place, you are going to attract that partner who is either going to try to take advantage of you, manipulate you. But if you're in a healthy place, you can enjoy your relationship. But it really starts with just you. Take the time you need. There is no rush. Stop putting a timeline on everything.
And I think that's one
that's
of the things
one thing we do.
We do. We put we have to do this, and
Who told
X
you
amount
you
of
have
time.
to do that?
I'm 48, so my timeline, if I had one, went out the door because I'm not married. Yeah.
Because you
just need to live for you and be you.
Well, also, I love the Word of God, but in whatever state you're in, be content.
Yeah.
In your singleness, be content.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother show in itself. But it starts. You got to go through the process, therapy, counseling. What is it that you're not content? I want you to be in a relationship, but I want you to be mentally, spiritually, and emotionally strong first. You should want that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because that's what you and your partner deserve.
What are some key tips we need now to navigate 2021 with our health? I mean, you talked about immune system. We definitely need to keep the immune system up and eat healthier.
Yeah, we need to be mindful of activity.
Oh, yeah.
One of the beautiful things about exercise is that it keeps depression low because of the chemicals that are released. And in that, people get so like, oh, I don't want to exercise. Okay, well, honey, just move.
Yeah.
Get up and move, stretch, walk around the block, walk through the house.
Yeah.
Do do something besides just sit still. I'm watching the TV. I'm going to binge watch. Oh, okay. Well, could you like step in place as you binge watch Bridgerton or whatever the thing is now? So, I mean, at the end of the day, just being mindful of ourselves and knowing what you need and not being afraid to either ask for it or claim it for yourself. If you need quiet time and you have 16 people in your house because guess what? Everybody's working from home.
Yeah.
Okay, still get your quiet time.
Yeah.
Don't become a martyr in your life because, well, all the kids are home and no. Decide what you need and be willing to go get it. If you need interaction, figure out a way to get interaction. Now, there's a lot of things that are on Zoom, but if depending on where people live, there are things that are open. Be safe, be wise. If you need whatever you need, be willing to make the commitment to be sure that you have it because you're better for it. You're never set up to be a martyr. And there are so many people that live their lives in self-sacrifice. And I'm like, that's no way to live.
That's right.
You don't need that. That is that external validation that's saying, do this, so they'll say that you're awesome. Do this, so they'll say that you work so hard. At some point, we heal. If we decide to, we can heal from needing that external validation, and that is when our needs can take front and center stage.
Yeah.
So what are some old and new tools for 2021 that we can try to use to combat mental health? Because I say old because mental health should have normally is always on the forefront.
Yeah.
Right.
With the pandemic, we saw it even more.
Yeah.
Right.
We still got to go back to the old tools because
it's again, and it's old tools. Pick up the phone. Girl, how are you? Girl, and you can say, Monique, call me if you need me, but she's the one whose mother has passed. So why don't you check on her? You can't always leave it in the hands of the person who's grieving because they're not always going to come to you. So I think we just need to be conscious and aware that we need to be there for each other. If we have not seen it, suicide, the rate has went up. Oh my God, they killed themselves. So if you're not in reality that you need to check on your brothers and sisters, then I don't know because there have been days myself, I had to mentally, I'm an introvert, and I was even like, okay, I need to see some people. But I had to get myself in prayer, I had to go outside, I went for a walk around the block, whatever I had to do. But I think we need to just be there for each other. That's old school. Pick up the phone. Texting is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Just simple things. It's not even.
I think we've lost sight of the simple things.
We have because we're moving so fast.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We've lost sight of the simple things.
And we're on Zoom 87 hours a day.
I try not to participate in that type of stuff at all.
Goodness.
So I try not to participate in that unless I really have to. How do you each view life now in 2021 after everything in 2020? Because like I said, when the year changed over, I said the only thing changed over was the new year. We still in a pandemic. We still got a crazy president. And we still in the same situation we in. The only thing changed was that number. So how do you guys view it? I mean, because what else changed? The year changed. Everybody say Happy New Year when we was all at home instead of at church and the clubs. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, I think if we always have the opportunity to create a new season in our lives, despite what's going on outside of it. And I think the ability to see 2020 as a learning ground.
It definitely was.
Oh my goodness, to
Yeah.
see what was actually important, because a lot of things that I think we had deemed important,
That's right.
they fell by the wayside, and they just kind of floated on down the pandemic road or the pandemic sea, and you're like, well, that wasn't as important as I thought. And so, in that realization, looking at 2021 as a season, that is ripe with possibilities. And whatever's possibilities that you choose, that you will be supported, or that you demand that you are supported and surrounded by people that want to see you win.
You got to change your perspective, and you have to be in reality that the world will not stay the same. So
Absolutely.
are you going to roll with it, or are you going to get left behind?
Or it's
And
gonna roll
that's
over
what
you.
it is. Yeah, or it'll
There's
roll
that.
over you. So you just have to and take small steps. That's what I tell people. Oh, I want to do okay, but you don't have to do 20 things today. Take small steps. Get on Google. Start doing research. And 30 minutes every day. Take small steps, and over time, you'll get to where you want to be, but because you'll overwhelm yourself like that. But take small steps. Challenge yourself. There's more in you than you could really ever imagine. There's just so many blessings and gifts in people that they haven't honed in on, and I really pray that they do. Yeah, but that's another show, right?
Yeah.
But I really want people just to start living there. You can't let fear, because I said COVID is not going to be the only thing. It's going to be something next year, the year after that, year after that.
Correct.
This is the world we're living in. So you better get with it.
So
Yeah.
what would you guys say to the world on how they should navigate in 2021 and still have a normal life? Because I don't know. I guess for me, I truly enjoy being at home.
Yeah, me too.
So getting up today, getting up today and putting on makeup and all that kind of stuff.
I know.
That was just like traumatic to
Clothes.
me. But I think a lot of people don't feel we have normal lives anymore. You still can go places. Everything pretty much now is open in the United States. You just got to put on a mask.
You just have to
is the
adapt.
problem?
You have to adapt.
So, I mean, what words would you have for people to still walk through 2021, find your purpose in life, and still live a normal life? Because
Adapt, people. Put on your mask. Go outside. Do something. Be conscious and aware. Look, adapt. I mean, I can't say anything but that. And if you have problems with it, coaching, therapy, counseling. Don't be afraid to reach out to people to help you in that. But you're gonna have to accept the change. You're gonna have to accept change. You can't be in denial.
and
about it.
definitely if you're going through some mental crisis, definitely.
And life is still good. If
Get
you're
help
above
with that.
ground, you can still make it. You can still do those things you want to do. You're just going to have to adapt to how you do them. But you can still make it.
And normalcy is fleeting.
Yes.
There is no going back. We will not be. So if your sense of, okay, a health coach moment, we just happen to know there are germs around you all the time. This is why your immunity is so important. You just happen to know that these are named COVID. There's about 20 million other germs that don't have a name yet that you're steadily coming in contact with. Nevertheless, so if you think we're going to go back, if your goal is, oh, I can't wait till things go back to normal, this is normal. We're not going back, we're going forward.
Yeah.
And normalcy is fleeting. And so I think one of the best things you can do is empower yourself to create your own sense of normalcy.
That's right.
Based on what we have right here. Like, we've got to take and formulate normalcy from what we have, not from what we had.
And she said it, your normalcy.
Exactly.
Not what 5 tips some person tells you that this
Exactly.
is your normalcy.
Exactly.
Because that's what gets me about individuals, and especially all the stuff we just saw at the Capitol. That's what gets me. Do you research and think for yourself? We need to start thinking for ourselves.
Absolutely.
We have too much too many tools
Yeah.
that are out there where we can think and get the correct information for ourselves.
But you have to make a choice.
Definitely.
It's like, okay, am I going to believe what I see, or am I going to do some research on another website? Or am I going to see what's really going on? Are you going to believe a politician because they give you a nice little speech, or are you going to do some research into the decisions they've made, how they have voted on things? Bill Clinton, years later, everybody loved Bill Clinton. He was the black president, and come to find out, he was under him, more black folks were locked up there. I mean, I'm just saying we do have to be educated.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Educated. But it's a choice. Are you going to be lazy and just, okay, Twitter told you this? I do not take my news off what some blogger has said.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. And me and you are both in media.
I don't even believe
and
it.
we don't believe I don't believe it. And I'm in media, and I
exactly.
just be like, okay, really?
All these stimulus checks updates. Nobody, anyway. Yeah, I mean, just, come on. Do your own research. Do your education. Don't let it scare you, because that's what the media's job is to do. They have to keep the story out there, but it's up to you to stay calm. And do your own research. And enjoy life, for God's sakes.
And sometimes just unplug from all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forget it. I'm not going to read this. And as a rule, I actually don't watch the news.
Yeah,
I really, truly don't. And people are like, well, how do you stay informed? I look at CNN from time to time.
Right.
I will look at the news. I don't watch the news,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it
yeah,
does,
yeah.
because some people can't watch that kind of stuff, because I know a couple of people over this past time and stuff we've been going through, it gives them anxiety rebed. And I tell them, if it's going to give you anxiety, do not watch the news.
Right.
Yeah.
I can watch the news all day long. Half of it is funny, is all it was to me. But if it gives you anxiety, don't watch it
Yeah.
at all. So I want to thank you, ladies, most definitely for coming and being with me today. Give us, Stephanie, your contact stuff, your social media and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I'm easiest to find at stephaniedmckenzie.com and Stephanie D. McKenzie everywhere else. So.
Hey,
And
follow
Dr.
me,
Dawn.
THEDRDAWN. It's the same on all platforms. Follow me, I'll follow you back. And sister, I want to thank you for this, and I'm proud of you, and you're
Thank
healing.
you.
You're helping people. You don't know it, but you really are.
Thank you.
So
I'm trying.
no, you are.
you're
doing it.
Well, that's what I always
You're doing.
tell.
We all said the same thing. No, you're doing it.
You're
Thank
doing.
you.
The circle who you have around matters too.
Most definitely.
Always.
Girl, you can't do
Most
that. You need to
definitely.
sit. No, we all said you're doing it. So
Most
you're going to keep doing it. So we're proud of you.
That is very important to have a positive circle
Oh,
around.
yes.
So definitely I want to thank all my guests that was here today, and we'll be right back to close out this show. I want to thank all my guests today for being on the show. Always like, follow, share the Our Life TV show. You can always catch us every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on the OnPoint network. Also on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Xbox, and AT&T TV. Always remember to empower, encourage, pull up to the table without fear but with confidence, and continue to remove your mask.